what we got here. Seems a bit redundant, but at least they're skipping on packaging. Alright, there's my bracket. Seems pretty solid actually. Not decided yet for sure, but I would say I'm going to modify this. So Jackson puts a brass insert molded into the plastic, and for my power pole I never had any trouble, but I have a feeling that when I get a full 40-pound thrust coming through it, I might end up pulling one of these out. So I'd say what I'm going to do is actually remove these studs and try to figure out a backing plate system and then a through bolt with a locking nut on it. It's kind of the place I figure this is going to end up. Oh, and that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Yay! Okay, so it's the next day. Sending that one bracket off. I've got another bracket coming. So in the meantime, I'm going to work on my steering linkage. So essentially what I want to do is I want to take this old single shorty and make a flexible extended long linkage, because I don't just need to go like a little bit, I need to go like 3-4 feet. So I'm going to rob some parts off of this. I'm going to take the old clamp. This is my old Minn Kota clamp from my old trolling motor. Probably going to use bits and parts of the original shaft, and I may keep the old rubber handle just for kind of a nostalgia, and it's, you know, about right. So what I've got is a 6-foot piece of 1/2-inch cold roll, I think. I don't remember if it's hot or cold roll, whatever's cheaper. And as soon as I find it, I got some of these little universal couplers. These have smooth on both sides with a set screw. This is a 12mm coupler, which, if you know your conversion tables, which I didn't, Google does though, 1/2-inch is slightly bigger than 12mm. So I had to take and buff this down. I put my little chamfer on there, and then I'll slide on, and I can either weld this on there, or what I'll probably do first is grind me a small flat spot on this as a keyway for my set screw to engage to. But the concept is that it would go something like this, only much shorter. So it'd be like from here, that way, so I can twist and steer, and I need to kind of figure out the angles and if I want it super short or if I want it long. You can buy pre-made extensions. They're running anywhere from 70 to 100 bucks, and I'd have to wait like 3 or 4 weeks to get it. I don't want to wait. I hadn't hardly fished this year. I've only been fishing just a few times, and I don't like it. Stuff keeps breaking at home. I've had to rebuild a lot of stuff, fix cars, trucks. I'm ready to get on the water. So let's get at it. So I want to maintain all that same functionality of it. It's a good old trolling motor. I've used it for years. So I'm going to try that. I currently don't have the battery that I want, but what I do have is two 24 amp hour lithium batteries. I hooked that trolling motor up to that battery. Ran for 1 hour and then it shut off. So I think what I'm doing with this is I'm going to be running 24 amp hours, which is probably in the neighborhood of 24 pounds of thrust. From what I've researched, a 40-pound thrust trolling motor requires 40 amps of power to deliver that. So ideally I would be running something north of 40 amp hours, so I would have the ability to run full power for that duration. What I want is a 100 amp hour battery, which should give me at least a full hour, probably in the neighborhood of 2+. Don't know a whole lot about how that all works. I'm learning as I go, so maybe pleasantly surprised. Who knows? But I do think that with two of those ran parallel, maintaining 12 volts, giving me a total reserve of 48 amps, should put me over an hour's worth of full power. Now, if you run it on less, you'll get longer run time. So I'm going to have to kind of learn like what speed I get out of each power setting, what the benefit is speed-wise versus the run time on lower settings. That's all further down the road problems. This is current problems. So what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to remove this, break it down to its components to see what I have, what I can use, what I need, and what I'm going to create. Because with a welder and an imagination, you can create a lot of things. I'm going to start off by drilling out these rivets and removing this coupler. Anything's a hammer, especially a hammer. Okay, one. Oh. So I think what I can do, I've got this old piece of pipe. This is actually part of the rack off my side-by-side that I've cut off and saved. If you ever want to know why rednecks don't throw stuff away, it's because they tinker with stuff and go messing with it later. It's roughly the same diameter as this. I think with just a very little bit of buffing down, that'll fit right into this. And then our little universal joint, that'll be on the end of that. It's very close to this. I might actually use a piece of that as like a shim, go inside. Then this can be tacked on and welded. If I get my setup right, I wouldn't even have to fill it. I could just fill it in with weld. I don't know how well this stuff's going to weld, what it is. I don't remember if they're stainless or not, or if it's plated. I have 3 of them, so if I build one up, I can chalk it up as learning experience, and you guys that know me know that I'll probably just burn one of them up. If I screwed up, say, nope, that didn't work, try something else. That's seeming like it's the simplest. Tack that on, weld it. Then I can take that, drill holes through it, pop rivet it on, and I'll make an adapter to go from the old stubby ready for the long one. That actually would be very simple, and hopefully it works. Because in 2026, all these little 2-hour jobs are taking 2 days, so we shall see. can run an inch of material into the shaft, into this itself. And I need about an inch worth there. Actually, I don't need an inch worth. I'm going to weld it less than ½ an inch. Let's make this 2 inches to start off with. Let's just say 2 inches. Now, if I was a real craftsman, a pipe fitter, any kind of a true tradesman, I would have one of them cool little flexible metal tape measures. I don't think I have one. I do have an old busted tape measure though. Let's try that. That might work. As a slap ruler or whatever they call them. It don't have to be perfect, but the closer I get it, the less grinding I have to do later. I'm sure there's somebody out there right now saying, that's not how you do it. Well, I don't know how to do it, so this is how I'm doing it. Look, Ricky. Oh, terrible. Better than I thought I'd do. It's back in the recycle. I almost grabbed it. Even though I know it's not. What we got starting off with. It's not that. Like a glove. Okay. So I mean, I could go shorter. I could also shove it in further. That's what she said. That's pretty decent. That's a pretty small gap. I'm not as good a welder as I once was, but I can fill that. Put a couple spacers in there, hold it in place, tack it in place, pull the spacers out, go to town. Matter of fact, just probably a piece of weld wire would do it. Awesome. Cool. Cool beans. Okay, so quick Amazon search tells me that what I ordered, these little things, are made out of number 45 steel. And it quotes in there that it is noted for its poor weldability. Well, I'm a pretty poor welder, so we're going to try it anyways. Like I said, if it don't work, I'll cut me a new piece of this. Got 2 more of these. Chalk that up for experience. So I do know my old buddy Kevin Kellums that cleanliness is next to godliness, especially when it comes to welding. So let's clean some of this plating off, see what happens. Let's do a brush, because I don't want to reduce my outer diameter of that any more than necessary. So if you're like me and you like to tinker and build stuff, try to save money or build stuff that doesn't exist, and you have a limited shop space, I took my grinder, mounted it to this board. Then I can put it into my vise, which is typically covered with junk. Clamp it in. Now I have a bench top grinder. And when I don't need it, it's over there on a shelf out of the way. I've been really trying to use my space wiser. Couldn't tell because the workbench is covered in crap, but something like you can get this. These are pretty cheap. This is a Harbor Freight 6-inch bench grinder. I don't know, 40, 50 bucks. I don't honestly remember. I put a brush wheel on one side, kept the medium sharpening wheel on that side. You can fiddle around and do crap in your basement. You can kind of see it there. You see the color difference where I knocked that plating off just right before the horseshoe. This is actually kind of hot, but that should help it weld a little better. Hopefully. It's been a minute since I used the welding table. Usually just take it outside on one of those little stands, but with this table I can actually hook my ground to it and the whole thing be grounded. I'll try. I'll cut me some of this weld wire, tuck it down in here, and try to use that as a spacer. Help center that up. Probably isn't going to be wide enough to really do a whole heck of a lot. It's actually perfect. Okay. So I've got something like that rocking. Perfectly straight's not really critical. Perfectly centered's not like critical, but it's pretty dang close. Might be butt ugly, but it might work. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do, might get something to put on that joint to keep the splatter out of it. I'll be back. Okay. So I'm going to wrap that aluminum foil. Wear my gloves because it's going to be hot. And just try to protect that universal joint itself from getting locked up with weld splatter. It's not the silliest thing I've ever done. Let's start somewhere a little easy. Then I can always clean this up and make it better later. Let's go hotter. The same wire speed. Okay. That's much better. I did not have enough heat the first time. About that time that I just realized I'm welding inside with the doors closed. So, Kara, sorry about the house smelling like smoke. You're probably used to it by now though. Your husband does a lot of stupid stuff. Let's clean up my crappy welds. Okay, so it's definitely not my prettiest welds, but it's not bad. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Really doesn't look all that bad. I mean, it's not beautiful, but I mean, it could be better. This is my linkage. I'm still waiting on the transom mount, so I can't really cut this to length yet. But what I can do get my joint mounted in. Nice tight fit. Tight fit. More coffee and I'll be able to pronounce my words better. I'll still be stupid, but I'll be caffeinated. That's the gist of it.
Now turn and twist, push. Ooh. A little more limited on rotation there. So I want, okay. This is why you test fit stuff before you screw it up. I'll show you what I just learned. So the mount, the clamp will be sitting like this with the hole up. I want to utilize this part of the joint to the vertical side of this axis, because if I don't, if I've got it, it'll get bound otherwise. So I want to make sure that I've got that plane with the vertical plane of this. I'll leave this full length until I know how long it needs to be. And even after that, I'm going to leave it longer than I need it. I want okay, so this has got little holes here that the set screw goes into. I can weld this to this, which I might, just because it'd be one less place for mechanical failure. I like stuff overbuilt for the purpose. I like stuff that does not fail. So I could either have this as a possible failure point or weld it on. And I'm leaning toward welding it on there now. Because the more I think about stuff failing, the more I don't like that concept. That's on there pretty good, but weld would make it on there real good. Okay, that's something else I'm learning. If I have too much of that rod sticking in, it's going to hit. I'll show you. Okay, so that's hitting the rod right there. So let's loosen up these set screws. And we'll bring that back. Drop the wrench, of course. So maybe right about there-ish. And that'll give me full range of motion through my joint. That's where I want it set. Okay. Like it there. Alright, I've decided I'm going to weld that in place. Tacks are kind of redundant because it's got set screws, but old habit. Okay. That shouldn't go anywhere. Set up the grinder again, because we all knew that was going to happen. Well, it ain't beautiful, and neither am I. But I need to figure out
how to stop my trolling motor handle from extending during my operation. Okay. So we'll just mount it to this here board. So it's going to be still. So yeah, it does this. I no longer want it to do that. Slide this collar down, then I can pivot it. And I also want to figure out something for the latch, so I can make it free spool. So if I hit something that kicks up, but I can still maintain power reverse. That's probably going to be like a solid linkage, I would imagine. Alright, that's some kind of Phillips screwdriver. If you're messy like me, these little magnetic parts bowls are super handy so you don't lose crap. Let's take the top off this. Down. Is a bearded redneck full of screws out of a trolling motor. That's what we got. That slides out on that shaft. And then it turns through your different speeds, which essentially all this thing is going to do is be like a voltage regulator. Cool. Okay. So I want to fix this to this. But how? Okay, so I've got you on the workbench now because you can see a little bit better what's going on here. Yeah, I gotta remember look at the little green dot because we had that conversation before. So what we got in here, this is the top of the trolling motor. This is the part that slides out. There's a flat metal bar, feel like it's aluminum. This tube, which if you raise that little collar out, slides out. There's a little detent here. So I don't want to modify this to the point where it's not going to be feasible ever as a handheld trolling motor again, because I may change my mind. This whole project may suck. I may abandon it and never do it again. This tube, excuse me, appears to be solid. First I thought it was a two-piece tube, but it's not. Get that collar back in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is actually drill through this, set a self-tapping screw in here to not allow that to slide in and out. So I've got my self-tapping screw. That should get me not most of the way through the aluminum. I'm going to put it right about here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-drill the plastic so I don't split it. Try not to screw things up. Probably will. Just want to go through the plastic. Okay. A little tip there where it went in. It's cool. And then the self-tapper will drill itself into the aluminum.
3. Lord, no. There we go. Full range of motion, and it's stopped. Cool. So now if I ever want to actually have this as a fully functioning rear trolling motor, all I gotta do is pop this top off, pull that self-tapping screw. Easy peasy. Things are going smooth. I'm getting nervous. What am I going to screw up? What? I mean, it wouldn't really surprise me at this point if when I go to unbox my transom mount that this one doesn't work either, and it'll put me another 4 or 5 days behind. But I'll cross that bridge when it gets there, because it'll probably get there. While I've got this apart, let's just make sure that all these connections are good and tight. That needed done a long time ago. So another thing, if you want to run one of these on the front of your boat, there's a nut right here. There's a bolt and a nut right here. That all you gotta do is take that out, and you can spin this head around, then use these as a front trolling motor. That actually might happen eventually on this unit, just as a test, because long range, I would kind of like this to have a bow mount trolling motor on it instead of a rear. It's mostly just cost. The one I want is $1,500, has GPS spot lock and all that cool stuff on it. But right now, this boat, or this price is in my budget, we're gonna take stuff out of the garage shed and make it work. So I'm gonna get these bolts back in here, and this stage is good. Okay, it's all back together. Doesn't come off. That's a lot easier than I thought it would be. Trip number 3 to the B&B. Maybe third time will be the charm. Okay, so got the other one sent back. Just got this in the mail. Hopefully this one works better. Got my registration done this morning. Third time was the charm. This is the final piece of the puzzle. No mounting hardware. So that's a problem. Maybe it'll fit. Maybe that's all I gotta do is go back to town for the 3rd time today. This one's definitely lighter. This one's aluminum. The other one was steel. So I had a problem with the fit on the base, and I had a problem back here on the other one. This one's supposed to be much thicker. Yeah, it kind of lines up. Not great, son of a... Okay, a little bit of grinder love. A little bit of grinder love. And not like the dating side, like the wall grinder love. Okay, let's make sure that it fits the trolling motor before I modify it. Say that this has been a process is an understatement. Definitely better.
Not much better. Okay, cool. I wanted to have some room on my screw to tighten it down further once stuff starts to wiggle in and set in. Because as this wears, it's going to wear into this plastic. Cool. I like that. So some things that I don't know how pertinent they are, but to me it seems important. I wanted side plates to hold this in, keep it from sliding left and right, and I wanted this metal plate on the top to keep it from sliding up. Notice how my cups on my clamp are fully encased. They're inside here, and if that ever did happen to slip off that, these sides will keep it on there. Just a nice little redundant feature. I like this clamp. I like this mount. The bolt holes line up. So here's the problem I've had with two different mounts now. Back holes are lined up, and I'm touching there. But my holes look pretty good there. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to take and grind a little bit of that off. But I'm ready to get this project completed. This one's aluminum, so it won't rust. I'll probably still shoot it with a little black or color over it with a Sharpie just for aestheticness. So yeah, let's get that done. Let's see how it fits. If it fits good, I'll reshape these corners. Yeah, I do like that this is aluminum better. Okay. Close. Not need that much again. Alright. Alright, I got it clamped back on. I think it needs that much more again. Let's go, just another line for it here. I think I'm going to tempt fate and actually use a cutoff wheel this time. Man, aluminum just gums up on the edge. Alright, let's see if that'll work. Okay. All I gotta do is round off those edges and I'm good to go. But sometimes you just have to adapt and overcome. I'm getting pretty good at it. Okay, we're real close. I think my holes will line up now. Okay, I've got it pretty well cleaned up. It fits. Got to round it off pretty decently. So, I've been kind of thinking as I'm grinding, I could go through and paint this, but then I don't have paint that matches. I do have stuff for aluminum to blacken it. It's like a gun touch-up thing. But at the end of the day, Old black Sharpie does a pretty decent job. That is good enough. Now, bolts. All right, got what I've got. So much crap in the way. Let's see. That gives me pretty close. Don't know how much thread. I want as much bolt engaging threads as possible. That's very long. Even with a washer, it will be very long. Really don't want to cut them. That's such a pain to get them clean and get the threads where they ought to be. Tell you what, that's pretty dang good. The little shorties. I only got 4 of them, can't lose them. I think I would have a washer on this just to help. So I'm just kind of curious. Don't crank them down super tight. That might work. Okay, I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. There. Then it's adjust the lock. Okay. There's the general concept. Okay, so now that that's on, I need to get my handle finished. I want to get my grip put on the handle, the clamp right there on the vise. Need to get it put on to the handle, which I've already got it drilled. I've already got it drilled out. Now I just need to put this in, get the holes to line up. Now time for the pop rivets. One, 2, 4. They all broke off cleanly too. Yay! All right, so that will slide up over this. clamp on, steer it from the seat. I'll have to learn the steering, so like that would be a left turn, this would be a right turn. All that can be done from right here, from the right hand. And in theory, I can make a pretty dang hard turn. I would imagine that the kayak will spin pretty well. And then to change gears, all I gotta do is rotate the wire. Full blast, off, reverse, which I don't know 100% yet. I've got one other thing that I do want to address, and it may not come yet. When it gets into the summertime and I'm running shallow in the river, I would like for this to be able to kick up when it hits something so it would send it forward instead of just eating my prop up. I can actuate it all the way up through this range here. So that kind of feels like maybe a later day thing. I may put this on here and absolutely hate it and go with another route. Something else that I may do, I haven't decided, it kind of depends on how much crap's in the back. I may actually take this head back off, disconnect the wire, shorten the shaft and the wiring, hook it all back up, and that way so I could have a more compact motor. I feel like if this rod was straight during operation, it would be best, but I want to know how deep my motor needs to be in the water before I go chopping and shortening stuff. So this really needs some seat time first. Alright, so I would like, I've got a little short section that I made to beef up the handle with. Looking at it now, I don't know how practical that's going to be because I think I'm going to be using a considerable amount of this rod. Like, and that would be like here. That'd be right at my back's here. And then going straight, I may want my hand more up here. So what I may do instead is just like a cord rack or something through this section. Okay. Wonder how much paracord I have. Okay, so I don't really have much paracord, but I do have a little bit of this heavier rope. I meant to be not meant for what I'm doing. Use it for. So ideally, I'd have that much of a wrap. I highly doubt this is enough rope to do that much wrapping. I do like this idea. I've got a cord wrap on my steering wheel of my truck and I really, really like it. They have a really good grip to them. Cramp. I think I like the cord wrap a lot. Okay, that will work. That is a nice grippy. I laying the one section of the rope down is give this kind of an oblong grip. That. does not suck. Cool. Okay. Now one of the parts that I've been dreading the most is I have to get my numbers on it. Part of my paperwork that I struggled for 3 days. You got to have your registration number, which includes 3 different things, and it tells the officials what such and such is and what not. And just another way to milk money out of people. I just want to catch fish. But I got my numbers. They have to be a minimum of 3 inches tall, block letter, and they need to contrast the boat. Well, to me, red contrasts black pretty nice, and I really didn't want white. So I got red numbers, or black numbers. Then I've got my Indiana motorized sticker. They'll send me the actual boat sticker in the mail, but as long as I've got my paperwork, I'm valid. I asked them today. They said, yep. I said, am I good to be on the water today with these numbers on? They said, yes.
They say love is more precious than gold. It can't be bought, and it can't be sold.
Okay, so just to review, you've got to have your numbers. First 2 set is like Indiana, blah, blah, blah registration, something, something excise, whatever, I think. 3-inch minimum height, block letters, 2-inch spacing in between, and then 3 inches, and then another sticker over here. I'm kind of bummed. It's going to possibly go over that. I don't remember how big that sticker is. It might slide past that one. I hate putting on this kind of sticker because I like it to be flat and neat, and as you can tell, it's like that first 9 kind of bothers me. I think I'm just going to leave it. It's probably going to get broke off anyways. I really wanted the stickers to be up here, but I gotta have, you have to have like 24 inches of space to do all the numbers and stuff, and that last sticker. So I didn't really have enough room. It was like going to be wrapping around the very tip, and I didn't figure that was going to work out. So, but it's on there. I think besides the battery and fishing gear, I'm ready to put this thing in the water. So thanks for coming along.